After a Parting by Alice Meynell. Read for LibriVox.org by Jaelee. Farewell has long been said. I have forgone thee. I never name thee even. But how shall I learn virtues and yet shun thee? For thou art so near heaven that heavenward meditations pause upon thee. Thou dost beset the path to every shrine. My trembling thoughts discern thy goodness in the good for which I pine. And if I turn from but one sin, I turn unto a smile of thine. How shall I thrust thee apart, since all my growth tends to thee, night and day? To thee faith, hope, and art. Swift are the currents, setting all one way. They draw my life, out of my heart. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
After the Rain by Thomas Bailey Aldrich. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. The rain has ceased, and in my room the sunshine pours an airy flood, and on the church's dizzy vane an ancient cross is bathed in blood. From out the dripping ivy leaves, antiquely carven, grey and high, a dormer facing westward looks upon the village like an eye. And now it glimmers in the sun, a square of gold, a disk, a speck, and in the belfry sits a dove with purple ripples on her neck.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Art by Herman Melville. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. In placid hours well pleased we dream of many a brave unbodied scheme. But form to lend, pulsed life create, what unlike things must meet and mate? A flame to melt, a wind to freeze, sad patience, joyous energies, humility, yet pride and scorn, instinct and study, love and hate, audacity, reverence. These must mate and fuse with Jacob's mystic heart to wrestle with the angel, Art. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Before the Rain by Thomas Bailey Aldrich. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. We knew it would rain for all the morn. A spirit on slender ropes of mist was lowering its golden buckets down into the vapory amethyst of marshes and swamps and dismal fens, scooping the dew that lay in the flowers, dipping the jewels out of the sea to sprinkle them over the land in showers. We knew it would rain, for the poplars showed the white of their leaves, the amber grain shrunk in the wind, and the lightning now is tangled in tremulous skeins of rain.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Cove Kiss by Thomas Stanley. Read for LibriVox.org by Public Domain Scholar. The Cove Kiss. Such icy kisses anchorites that live, secluded from the world, to dead skulls give. And those cold maids on whom love never spent his flame, nor know what by desire is meant, to their expiring fathers such bequeath, snatching their fleeting spirits in that breath. The timorous priest doth with such fear nice devotion touch the holy sacrifice. Fie, Clarissa, when so changed of late, as to become in love a reprobate. Quit this dullness, fairest, and make known a flame unto me, equal with mine own. Shake off this frost for shame that dwells upon thy lips, for if it would not so be gone, let's once more join our lips, and thou shalt see that by the flame of mine 'twill melted be. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Contemplation Upon Flowers by Henry King. Read for LibriVox.org by Public Domain Scholar. The Contemplation Upon Flowers. Brave flowers, that I could gallant it like you, and be as little vain. You'd come abroad and make a harmless show, and to your beds of earth again. You are not proud, you know your birth, for your embroidered garments are from earth. You do obey your months and times, but I would have it ever spring. My fate would know no winter, never die, nor think of such a thing. Oh, that I could my bed of earth but view, and smile, and look as cheerfully as you. Oh, teach me to see death, and not to fear, but rather to make truce. How often have I seen you at a bier, and there look fresh and spruce. Your fragrant flowers then teach me that my breath, like yours, may sweeten and perfume my death. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Delectable Mountains by Walter Richard Cassels. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. How light and pleasant is the way across this quiet valley, whose soft mead springs lightly as the air that angels tread beneath our footsteps weariless all day. This crystal river flowing by our side, one stream of sunshine, still has seemed a guide from heaven in pure angelical array. These purple mountains now are nigh, that all the valley through have filled our eyes with daydreams of the distant paradise their sun-surrounded summits can descry. We mount them now upon hope's bounding wing, that makes each short swift footstep long to spring suddenly upward to the shadeless sky. The air methinks is lighter here, and the breast heaves with full untrammelled ease, drinking the life draught of the fragrant breeze that wafts its soul sighs to another sphere. Earth groweth little in our eyes, but fair, fair as though sin had never entered there. Earth groweth little as heaven draweth near. This rock, and then at last we stand upon the silent summits. Scarce I dare gaze outward through the clear and azure air, towards the radiance of the promised land. I am so weak and fallen, friend, I fear mine eyes will dazzle, and the light appear darkness, so that I shall not see the promised land. Look thou afar, and tell me true what thou discernest. Oh, my eyes grow dim, and floods of golden glory seem to swim, wave upon wave through all the cloudless blue, blinding me with their sunny splendors quite, so that amid the pure excess of light but vaguest visions faintly glimmer through. Yet now methinks I seem to see one spot of burning brightness, beaming clear through all the floating glory, like a sphere quenching light with its own intensity. Yes, yes, it is the holy city I behold, with God's sun from its towers of burnished gold reflected broadly through immensity. I must gaze out, although I die. Ah, yes, I see it through my longing and tears, a great clear glow of glory that appears, like a light fountain in the eastern sky, that as I gaze pours forth its living light, flooding creation till the dazzled sight sees heaven in all things that around it lie. So shall it ever henceforth be. Who that discerneth once God's dwelling place can blot from vision the refulgent trace. Aye, henceforth all things shall be heaven to me, and as I journey on shall brightly rise divinest semblance of paradise, heaven mine in time and in eternity. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Draw On, Sweet Night by John Wilby. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston, Tharp. Draw on, sweet night, best friend unto those cares that do arise from painful melancholy. My life so ill through want of comfort fares, that unto thee I consecrate it wholly. Sweet night, draw on. My griefs, when they be told to shades and darkness, find some ease from paining. And while thou all in silence doth enfold, I then shall have best time for my complaining. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Egypt by Thomas Bailey Aldrich. Read for LibriVox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Fantastic sleep is busy with my eyes. I seem in some waste solitude to stand, once ruled of Cheops. Upon either hand a dark, illimitable desert lies, sultry and still, a realm of mysteries. A wide-browed sphinx, half buried in the sand, with orbless sockets, stares across the land, the woefulest thing beneath these brooding skies, where all is woeful, weird-lit vacancy. 'Tis neither midnight, twilight, nor moonrise. Lo, while I gaze, beyond the vast sand sea, the nebulous clouds are downward slowly drawn, and one bleared star, faint glimmering like a bee, is shut in the rosy outstretched hand of dawn.
End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Elephant by Hilaire Belloc. Read for LibriVox.org by Roger Smith. When people call this beast of mine, they marvel more and more at such a little tail behind, so large a trunk before. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
An End by Christina Rossetti. Read for LibriVox.org by Stunning. Love, strong as death, is dead. Come, let us make his bed among the dying flowers, a green turf at his head and a stone at his feet, whereon we may sit in the quiet evening hours. He was born in the spring and died before the harvesting. On the last warm summer day, he left us. He would not stay for autumn twilight, cold and gray. Sit we by his grave, and sing he is gone away. To few chords and sad and low sing we so. Be our eyes fixed on the grass, shadow-veiled as the years pass, while we think of all that was in the long ago. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Fold by Alice Meynell. Read for LibriVox.org by Jaelee. Behold, the time is now. Bring back thy flocks of fancies, wild of whim. Oh, lead them from the mountain track, thy frolic thoughts untold. Oh, bring them in, the fields grow dim, and let me be the fold. Behold, the time is now. Call in. Oh, call thy pasturing kisses gone astray for scattered sweets. Gather them all to shelter from the cold. Throng them together, close and gay, and let me be the fold. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Fragment by Percy Bysshe Shelley. Read for LibriVox.org by Algy. As a violet's gentle eye gazes on the azure sky, until its hue grows like what it beholds, as a grey and empty mist lies like solid amethyst over the western mountain it enfolds, when the sunset sleeps upon its snow. as a strain of sweetest sound wraps itself the wind around, until the voiceless wind be music too, as aught dark, vain, and dull, basking in what is beautiful, is full of light and love. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Hippopotamus by Hilaire Belloc. Read for LibriVox.org by Roger Smith. I shoot the hippopotamus with bullets made of platinum, because if I use lead ones, his hide is sure to flatten 'em. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Ike Walton's Prayer by James Whitcomb Riley. Read for LibriVox.org by Larry Wilson. I crave, dear Lord, no boundless hoard of gold and gear, nor jewels fine, nor lands nor kine, nor treasure heaps of anything. Let but a little hut be mine, where at the hearthstone I may hear the cricket sing, and have the shine of one glad woman's eyes to make, for my poor sake, our simple home a place divine. Just the wee cot, the cricket's chirr, love, and the smiling face of her. I pray not for great riches, nor for vast estates and castle halls. Give me to hear the bare footfalls of children o'er an oaken floor, new rinsed with sunshine, or bespread with but the tiny coverlet and pillow for the baby's head. And pray thou, may the door stand open, and the day send ever in a gentle breeze, with fragrance from the locust trees, and drowsy moan of doves, and blur of robin chirps, and drone of bees, with after hushes of the stir of intermingling sounds, and then the good wife and the smile of her filling the silences again, the cricket's call, and the wee cot, dear Lord of all, deny me not. I pray not that men tremble at my power of place and lordly sway. I only pray for simple grace, to look my neighbor in the face full honestly from day to day. Yield me his horny palm to hold, and I'll not pray for gold. The tanned face garlanded with mirth, it hath the kingliest smile on earth. The swart brow, diamonded with sweat, hath never need of coronet. And so I reach, dear Lord, to thee, and do beseech thou givest me the wee cot and the cricket's chirr, love and the glad sweet face of her. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Lamb by William Blake. Read for LibriVox.org by mleigh. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Gave thee life and bid thee feed by the stream and o'er the mead, gave thee clothing of delight, softest clothing, woolly, bright, gave thee such a tender voice, making all the vales rejoice. Little lamb, who made thee? Dost thou know who made thee? Little lamb, I'll tell thee. Little lamb, I'll tell thee. He is called by thy name, for he calls himself a lamb. He is meek and he is mild. He became a little child. I a child and thou a lamb. We are called by his name. Little lamb, God bless thee. Little lamb, God bless thee. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Late Autumn in the Hills by Laura Sherry. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. A flock of birds spurts down the trail of autumn. Bare hills wrap fog blankets about them and nod. A whirl of wind scatters wild rice over the lake. There is a shake of snow in the air. My boat moors in the sedges. My hand droops over the side of the boat. My fingers touch a lotus pod. The seeds rattle in the husk. Autumn is anchored. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Light Magic by Laura Sherry, read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. The valley curves like a bridge span to the sky. Blue granite stew pans spill pink begonias along the road. The town hall, blazing red, focuses the red stubble of the fields, which stretch away to gold-stacked corn stalks and Wisconsin hills, piled cubes of red and yellow. The sunset catches the landscape in layers. Its amber floats a banner of pastels around the town. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Monadnock in Early Spring by Amy Lau. Read for LibriVox.org by Xander Webb. Cloud-topped and splendid, dominating all, the little lesser hills which compass thee, thou standest bright with April's buoyancy, yet holding winter in some shaded wall of stern, steep rock, and startled by the call of spring, thy trees flush with expectancy, and cast a cloud of crimson, silently, above thy snow crevices where fall pale shriveled oak leaves, while the snow beneath melts at their phantom touch. Another year is quick with import, such each year has been. Unmoved thou watchest all, and all bequeath some jewel to thy diadem of power, thou pledge of greater majesty unseen. End of poem. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain.
My Last Terrier by John Holsham. Read for LibriVox.org by Ike Sherr. I mourn Patroclus, whilst I praise young Peter, sleek before the fire, a proper dog, whose decent ways renew the virtues of his sire. Patroclus rests in grassy tomb, and Peter grows into his room. For though when time and fate consign the terrier to his latest earth, vowing no wastrel of the line shall dim the memory of his worth, I meditate the silkier breeds, yet still an amaranth succeeds to bind the heart again, to watchful eye and strenuous paw, to tale that gratulates amain or deprecates offended law, to bind and break when failing eye and pulse-eyed paw must say goodbye. Ah, had the dog's appointed day but tallied with his master's span, nor one swift decade turned to grey the busy muzzles black and tan, to reprobate in idle men the 60 empty years and 10. Sure, somewhere over the Stygian strait, Panurge and Bito, Tramp and Mike, in couchant conclave watch the gate, till comes the last successive tyke, acknowledged with the countersign, your master was a friend of mine. In dreams I see them spring to greet with rapture more than tale can tell, the master of the silent feet who whistles o'er the asphodel, and through the dim Elysian bounds leads all his cry of little hounds. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Ode to Music by Joseph Walton. Read for LibriVox.org by Ananda Samudhram. Queen of every moving measure, sweetest source of purest pleasure, music, why thy powers employ, only for the sons of joy, only for the smiling guest, at natal or at nuptial feast. Rather, thy lenient numbers pour on those whom secret griefs devour. Bid be still the throbbing hearts of those whom death or absence parts, and with some softly whispered air smooth the brow of dumb despair. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
From Sand and Foam by Khalil Gibran. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. Once I filled my hand with mist. Then I opened it, and lo, the mist was a worm. And I closed and opened my hand again, and behold, there was a bird. And again I closed and opened my hand, and in its hollow stood a man with a sad face turned upward. And again I closed my hand, and when I opened it there was naught but mist. But I heard a song of exceeding sweetness. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Paradise, a Hindu Legend, by George Birdseye. Read for LibriVox.org by Sherr. A Hindoo died. A happy thing to do, when 50 years married to a shrew. Released, he hopefully for entrance cries before the gates of Brahma's paradise. Hast been through purgatory? Brahma said. I have been married. And he hung his head. Come in, and welcome too, my son. Marriage and purgatory are as fun. In bliss extreme he entered heaven's door, and knew the peace he ne'er had known before. He scarce had entered in the gardens fair, another Hindoo asked admission there. The selfsame question Brahma asked again. Hast been through purgatory? No, what then? Thou canst not enter, did the god reply. He who went in was there no more than I. All that is true, but he has married been, and so on earth has suffered for all his sin. Married? 'Tis well, for I've been married twice. Begone! We'll have no fools in paradise. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Recognition by Frederick William Sawyer. Read for LibriVox.org by Sherr. After Tennyson. Home they brought her sailor son, grown a man across the sea, tall and broad and black of beard, and hoarse of voice as man may be. Hand to shake, and mouth to kiss, both he offered ere he spoke. But she said, What man is this comes to play a sorry joke? Then they praised him, called him smart, tightest lad that ever stepped. But her son she did not know, and she neither smiled nor wept. Rose, a nurse of 99 years, set a pigeon pie in sight. She saw him eat. 'Tis he! 'Tis he! She knew him by his appetite. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Rhapsody on a Windy Night by T.S. Eliot. Read for LibriVox.org by Ehsan Ahmed Mehedi. 12 o'clock. Along the reaches of the street held in a loner synthesis, whispering loner incantations, dissolve the floor of memory and all its clear relations, its divisions and precisions. Every street lamp that I pass beats like a fatalistic drum, and through the spaces of the dark, midnight shakes the memory as a madman shakes a dead geranium. 1:30. The street lamp sputtered, the street lamp muttered, the street lamp said, Regard that woman who hesitates toward you in the light of the door, which opens on her like a grin. You see the border of her dress is torn and stained with sand, and you see the corner of her eye twists like a crooked pin. The memory throws up high and dry a crowd of twisted things. A twisted branch upon the beach eaten smooth and polished as if the world gave up the secret of its skeleton, stiff and white. A broken spring in a factory yard, rust that clings to the form that the strength has left, hard and curled and ready to snap. 2:30. The street lamp said, "Remark the cat which flattens itself in the gutter, slips out its tongue, and devours a morsel of rancid butter." So the hand of the child, automatic, slipped out and pocketed a toy that was running along the quay. I could see nothing behind the child's eyes. I have seen eyes in the street trying to peer through lighted shutters, and a crab one afternoon in a pool, an old crab with barnacles on his back, gripped the end of a stick which I held him. 3:30. The lamp sputtered, the lamp muttered in the dark. The lamp hummed, "Regard the moon, la lune garde au cœur inquiet." She winks a feeble eye, she smiles into corners, she smooths the hair of the grass. The moon has lost her memory. A washed-up smallpox cracks her face. Her hand twists a paper rose that smells of dust and old cologne. She's alone, with all the old nocturnal smells that cross and cross across her brain. The reminiscence comes of sunless dry geraniums, and dust in crevices, smells of chestnuts in the streets, and female smells in shuttered rooms, and cigarettes in corridors, and cocktail smells in bars. The lamp said, 4:00. Here is the number on the door. Memory. You have the key. The little lamp spreads a ring on the stair. Mount. The bed is open. The toothbrush hangs on the wall. Put your shoes at the door. Sleep. Prepare for life. The last twist of the knife. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Rose by George Herbert. Read for LibriVox.org by our Mapstone. Press me not to take more pleasure in this world of sugared lies, and to use a larger measure than my strict yet welcome size. First, there is no pleasure here. Coloured griefs indeed there are, blushing woes that look as clear as if they could beauty spare. Or if such deceits there be, such delights I meant to say, there are no such things to me, who have passed my right away. But I will not much oppose unto what you now advise. Only take this gentle rose, and therein my answer lies. What is fairer than a rose? What is sweeter? Yet it purgeth. Purgings enmity disclose, enmity forbearance urgeth. If then all that worldling prize be contracted to a rose, sweetly there indeed it lies, but it biteth in the close. So this flower doth judge and sentence worldly joys to be a scourge, for they all produce repentance, and repentance is a purge. But I health not physic choose, only though I you oppose, say that fairly I refuse, for my answer is a rose. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Satire Against Mankind by John Wilmot, Earl of Rochester, 1647 to 1680. Read for LibriVox.org by czandra. Were I, who to my cost already am one of those strange prodigious creatures, man, a spirit free to choose for my own share what case of flesh and blood I pleased to wear, I'd be a dog, a monkey, or a bear. or anything but that vain animal who is so proud of being rational. The senses are too gross, and he'll contrive a sixth to contradict the other five, and before certain instinct will prefer reason, which 50 times for one does err. Reason, an ignis fatuus in the mind, which, leaving light of nature, sense, behind, pathless and dangerous wandering ways it takes, through errors, fenny bogs, and thorny brakes, whilst the misguided follower climbs with pain mountains of whimsies heaped in his own brain, stumbling from thought to thought, falls headlong down into doubt's boundless sea, where, like to drown, books bear him up a while and makes him try to swim with bladders of philosophy. In hopes still to o'ertake the escaping light, the vapour dances in his dazzled sight, till spent it leaves him to eternal night. Then old age and experience, hand in hand, lead him to death, and make him understand, after a search so painful and so long, that all his life he has been in the wrong. Huddled in dirt, the reasoning engine lies, who was so proud, so witty, and so wise. Pride drew him in, as cheats their bubbles catch, and makes him venture to be made a wretch. His wisdom did his happiness destroy, aiming to know that world he should enjoy, and wit was his vain frivolous pretence of pleasing others at his own expense. For wits are treated just like common whores. First they're enjoyed, and then kicked out of doors. The pleasure past, a threatening doubt remains that frights the enjoyer with succeeding pains. Women and men of wit are dangerous tools, and ever fatal to admiring fools. Pleasure allures, and then the fops escape. 'Tis not that they're beloved, but fortunate, and therefore what they fear, at heart they hate. But now, methinks some formal band and beard takes me to task. Come on, sir, I'm prepared. Then, by your favour, anything that's writ against this jibing, jingling knack called wit likes me abundantly, but you take care upon this point not to be too severe. Perhaps my muse were fitter for this part, for I profess I can be very smart on wit, which I abhor with all my heart. I long to lash it in some sharp essay, but your grand indiscretion bids me stay and turns my tide of ink another way. What rage ferments in your degenerate mind to make you rail at reason and mankind? Blessed, glorious man, to whom alone kind heaven and everlasting soul has freely given, whom his great Maker took such care to make, that from himself he did the image take, and this fair frame in shining reason dressed, to dignify his nature above beast. Reason, by whose aspiring influence we take a flight beyond material sense, dive into mysteries, then soaring, pierce the flaming limits of the universe. Search heaven and hell, find out what's acted there, and give the world true grounds of hope and fear. Hold, mighty man, I cry, all this we know from the pathetic pen of Ingolo, from Patrick's Pilgrim, Sib's soliloquies, and 'tis this very reason I despise, this supernatural gift that makes a mite think he is the image of the infinite, comparing his short life, void of all rest, to the eternal and the ever-blessed. This busy, puzzling stirrer-up of doubt that frames deep mysteries, then finds them out, filling with frantic crowds of thinking fools those reverend bedlams, colleges, and schools, borne on whose wings each heavy sot can pierce the limits of the boundless universe. So charming ointments make an old witch fly, and bear a crippled carcass through the sky. 'Tis this exalted power whose business lies in nonsense and impossibilities. This made a whimsical philosopher before the spacious world his tub prefer, and we have modern cloistered coxcombs who retire to think because they have naught to do. But thoughts are given for action's government. Where action ceases, thought's impertinent. Our sphere of action is life's happiness, and he who thinks beyond thinks like an ass. Thus, whilst 'gainst false reasoning I inveigh, I own right reason which I would obey, that reason which distinguishes by sense, and gives us rules of good and ill from thence, that bounds desires with the reforming will, to keep them more in vigour, not to kill. Your reason hinders, mine helps to enjoy, renewing appetites yours would destroy. My reason is my friend, yours is a cheat. Hunger calls out, my reason bids me eat. Perversely, yours, your appetite does mock. This asks for food, that answers, what's o'clock? This plain distinction, sir, your doubt secures. 'Tis not true reason I despise, but yours. Thus I think reason righted, but for man I'll ne'er recant, defend him if you can. For all his pride and his philosophy, 'tis evident beasts are in their degree as wise at least, and better far than he. Those creatures are the wisest who attain by surest means the ends at which they aim. If, therefore, Jowler finds and kills his hares, better than Mears supplies committee chairs. Though one's a statesman, t'other but a hound, Jowler in justice would be wiser found. You see how far man's wisdom here extends. Look next, if humane nature makes amends, whose principles most generous are and just, and to whose morals you would sooner trust. Be judge yourself, I'll bring it to the test. Which is the basest creature, man or beast? Birds feed on birds, beasts on each other prey, but savage man alone does man betray. Pressed by necessity, they kill for food. Man undoes man to do himself no good. With teeth and claws by nature armed they hunt nature's allowances to supply their want. But man with smiles, embraces, friendships, praise, unhumanely his fellow's life betrays. With voluntary pains works his distress, not through necessity, but wantonness. For hunger or for love they fight or tear, whilst wretched man is still in arms for fear. For fear he arms, and is of arms afraid. By fear, to fear, successively betrayed. Base fear, the source whence his best passions came, his boasted honour, and his dear bought fame. That lust of power to which he's such a slave, and for the which alone he dares be brave, to which his various projects are designed, which makes him generous, affable, and kind, for which he takes such pains to be thought wise, and screws his actions in a forced disguise, leading a tedious life in misery under laborious, mean hypocrisy. Look to the bottom of his vast design, wherein man's wisdom, power, and glory join. The good he acts, the ill he does endure, 'tis all for fear, to make himself secure. Merely for safety, after fame we thirst, for all men would be cowards if they durst. And honesty's against all common sense, men must be knaves, 'tis in their own defence. Mankind's dishonest, if you think it fair amongst known cheats to play upon the square, you'll be undone, nor can weak truth your reputation save. The knaves will all agree to call you knave. Wronged shall he live, insulted or oppressed, who dares be less a villain than the rest? Thus, sir, you see what humane nature craves. Most men are cowards, all men should be knaves. The difference lies, as far as I can see, not in the thing itself, but the degree, and all the subject matter of debate is only who's a knave of the first rate. All this with indignation have I hurled at the pretending part of the proud world, who, swollen with selfish vanity, devise false freedoms, holy cheats, and formal lies over their fellow slaves to tyrannize. But if in court so just a man there be, in court a just man, yet unknown to me, who does his needful flattery direct, not to oppress and ruin, but protect, since flattery, which way soever laid, is still a tax on that unhappy trade. If so upright a statesman you can find, whose passions bend to his unbypassed mind, who does his arts and policies apply to raise his country, not his family, nor, while his pride owned avarice withstands, receives oriel bribes from friends' corrupted hands, is there a churchman who on God relies, whose life his faith and doctrine justifies? not one blown up with vain prelatic pride, who for reproof of sins does man deride, whose envious heart with his obstreperous saucy eloquence dares chide at kings and rail at men of sense, who from his pulpit vents more peevish lies, more bitter railings, scandals, calumnies, than at a gossiping are thrown about, when the good wives get drunk and then fall out. None of that sensual tribe whose talents lie in avarice, pride, sloth, and gluttony, who hunt good livings but abhor good lives, whose lust exalted to that height arrives, they act adultery with their own wives, and ere a score of years completed be, can from the lofty pulpit proudly see half a large parish their own progeny, nor, doting be who would be adored for domineering at the council board, a greater fop in business at 80, fonder of serious toys, affected more than the gay glittering fool at 20 proves, with all his noise, his tawdry cloths and loves, but a meek humble man of modest sense, who, preaching peace, does practise continence, whose pious life's a proof he does believe mysterious truths, which no man can conceive. If upon earth there dwell such godlike men, I'll here recant my paradox to them, adore those shrines of virtue, homage pay, and with the rabble world their laws obey. If such there are, yet grant me this at least, man differs more from man than man from beast. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Scorpion by Hilaire Belloc. Read for LibriVox.org by Roger Smith. The scorpion is as black as soot, he dearly loves to bite. He is a most unpleasant brute to find in bed at night. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Season by Laura Sherry. Read for LibriVox.org by Newgatenovelist. It is mating time. How can I go gypsying? It is planting time. How can I go adventuring? It is harvest time. In the twilight the campfire smoulders. On the hearthstone ashes hold memories. It is dying time, and the unknown road. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
'70 by Sir Henry Parkes. Read for LibriVox.org by Algy. 70. The weight of years scarce seems to touch the tireless brain. How bright the future still appears, how dim the past of toil and pain. In that fair time, when all was new, who thought of 80 years and 10? Of those who shared the race, how few are numbered now with living men. Some fell upon the right, and some upon the left, as year by year the chain kept lengthening nearer home, as home even now may not be near. But yesterday I chanced to meet a man whose years were 93. He walked alone the crowded street, his eye was bright, his step was free. And well I knew a worthy who, dying in harness, as men say, had lived 100 years and 2, not halting on his toilsome way. How much of action undesigned will modify tomorrow's plan? The gleams of foresight leave us blind when we the far-off path would scan. What talk of glorious toil for good, what service, what achievement high, may nerve the will, re-fire the blood, who knows, ere strikes the hour to die? The next decade of time and fate, the mighty changes manifold, the grander growth of rule and estate, perchance these eyes may yet behold. But be it late or be it soon, If, striving hard, we give our best, why need we sigh for other boon? Our title will be good for rest. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Snare by James Stephens. Read for LibriVox.org by mleigh. I hear a sudden cry of pain. There is a rabbit in a snare. Now I hear the cry again, but I cannot tell from where. But I cannot tell from where he is calling out for aid, crying on the frightened air, making everything afraid, wrinkling up his little face as he cries again for aid. And I cannot find the place, where his paw is in the snare. Little one, oh little one, I am searching everywhere. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Solitude by Sir Henry Parkes. Read for LibriVox.org by Algy. Where the mocking lyrebird calls to its mate among the falls of the mountain streams that play, each adown its tortuous way, when the dewy-fingered even veils the narrowed glimpse of heaven, where the morning re-illumes gullies of ferny plumes, and the roof of radiance weaves through high-hanging vault of leaves, there, mid giant turpentines, groups of climbing, clustering vines, rocks that stand like sentinels guarding native citadels, lowly flowering shrubs that grace with their beauty all the place, there I love to wander lonely, with my dog companion only, there indulge unworldly moods in the mountain solitudes, far from all the gilded strife of our boasted social life, contemplating, spirit free, the majestic company grandly marching through the ages, heroes, martyrs, bards, and sages, they who bravely suffered long, by their struggles waxing strong, for the freedom of the mind, for the rights of humankind. Oh, for some awakening cause, where we face eternal laws, where we dare not turn aside, where the souls of men are tried, something of a nobler strife, which consumes the dross of life, to unite to truer aim, to exalt to loftier fame. Leave behind the bats and balls, leave the races in the stalls, leave the cards for ever shuffled, leave the yacht on seas unruffled, leave the haunts of pampered ease, leave your dull festivities. Better far the savage glen, fitter school for earnest men. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Songs for the People by Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. Read for LibriVox.org by Xander Webb. Let me make the songs for the people, songs for the old and young, songs to stir like a battle cry wherever they are sung, not for the clashing of sabers, for carnage nor for strife, but songs to thrill the hearts of men with more abundant life. Let me make the songs for the weary, amid life's fever and fret, till hearts shall relax their tension, and careworn brows forget. Let me sing for little children, before their footsteps stray, sweet anthems of love and duty to float o'er life's highway. I would sing for the poor and aged, when shadows dim their sight, of the bright and restful mansions where there shall be no night. Our world, so worn and weary, needs music pure and strong, to hush the jangle and discords of sorrow, pain, and wrong. Music to soothe all its sorrow, till war and crime shall cease, and the hearts of men grown tender, girdle the world with peace. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sonnet XXIX by E.C. Read for LibriVox.org by Public Domain Scholar. My heart is like a ship on Neptune's back. Thy beauty is the sea where my ship saileth. Thy frowns the surges are that threat my rack. Thy smiles the winds that on my sails soft galeth. Long tossed betwixt fair hope and foul despair, my seasick heart arrived on thy shore. Thy love, I mean, begs that he may repair his broken vessel with thy beauteous store. Dido relieved Aeneas in distress, and lent him love, and gave to him her heart. If hap such bounty thou to me express, from thy fair shore I will never depart, but thank kind fortune that my course did sort, to suffer shipwreck on so sweet a port. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Stupidity Street by Ralph Hodgson. Read for LibriVox.org by mleigh. I saw with open eyes singing birds sweet, sold in the shops for the people to eat, sold in the shops of Stupidity Street. I saw in vision the worm in the wheat, and in the shops nothing for people to eat, nothing for sale in Stupidity Street. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To a Stranger by Walt Whitman. Read for LibriVox.org by Charlie Dykman. Boston, Massachusetts, July 2023. Passing stranger, you do not know how longingly I look upon you. You must be he I was seeking, or she I was seeking. It comes to me as of a dream. I have somewhere surely lived a life of joy with you. All is recalled as we flit by each other, fluid, affectionate, chaste, matured. You grew up with me, were a boy with me or a girl with me. I ate with you and slept with you. Your body has become not yours only, nor left my body mine only. You give me the pleasure of your eyes, face, flesh. As we pass, you take of my beard, breast, hands. In return, I am not to speak with you. I am to think of you when I sit alone or wake at night alone. I am to wait. I do not doubt I am to meet you again. I am to see to it that I do not lose you. End of recording. This poem is in the public domain.
A Valediction Forbidding Morning by John Donne. Read for LibriVox.org by Mischa Poole. As virtuous men pass mildly away, and whisper to their souls to go, whilst some of their sad friends do say the breath goes now, and some say no. So let us melt, and make no noise. No tear floods nor sigh tempests move. 'Twere profanation of our joys to tell the laity our love. Moving of the earth brings harms and fears, men reckon what it did and meant. But trepidation of the spheres, though greater far, is innocent. Dull, sublunary lovers' love, whose soul is sense, cannot admit absence, because it doth remove those things which elemented it. But we by a love so much refined that ourselves know not what it is, interassured of the mind, careless eyes, lips, and hands to miss. Our two souls, therefore, which are one, though I must go, endure not yet a breach, but an expansion, like gold to airy thinness beat. If they be two, they are two so as stiff twin compasses are two. Thy soul, the fixed foot, makes no show to move, but doth, if the other do. And though it in the centre sit, yet when the other far doth roam, it leans, and hearkens after it, and grows erect as that comes home. Such wilt thou be to me, who must, like the other foot, obliquely run. Thy firmness draws my circle just, and makes me end where I begun. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Wanderer, an Old English poem without any recorded author. Read for LibriVox.org by Ehsan Ahmed Mehedi. Often the lonely one longs for honors, the grace of God, though grieved in his soul. Over the waste of waters far and wide he shall row with his hands through the rime-cold sea. Travel the exile tracks, full determined is fate. So the wanderer spake, his woes remembering, his misfortunes in fighting, and the fall of his kinsmen. Often alone at early dawn I make my moan. Not a man now lives to whom I can speak forth my heart and soul, and tell of its trials. In truth I know well that there belongs to a lord an illustrious trait, to fetter his feelings fast in his breast, to keep his own counsel though cares oppress him. The weary in heart against weird has no help, nor may the troubled in thought attempt to get aid. Therefore the thane who is thinking of glory binds in his breast his bitterest thoughts. So I fasten with fetters, confine in my breast my sorrows of soul, though sick oft at heart, in a foreign country far from my kinsmen. I long ago laid my loyal patron in sorrow under the sod. Since then I have gone weary with winter care over the waves' foamy track. In sadness have sought a solace to find in the home and the hall of a host and ring-giver, who, mindful of mercy in the mead-hall free, in kindness would comfort and care for me friendless, would treat me with tenderness. The tried man knows how stern is sorrow, how distressing a comrade for him who has few of friends and loved ones. He trails the track of the exile. No treasure he has, but heart-chilling frost, no fame upon earth. He recalls his comrades and the costly hall gifts of his gracious gold friend, which he gave him in youth, to expend as he pleased. His pleasure has vanished. He who lacks for long his lord's advice, his love and his wisdom, learns full well how sorrow and slumber soothe together the way-worn wanderer to welcome peace. He seems in his sleep to see his lord. He kisses and clasps him, and inclines on his knee, his hands and his head as in happier days, when he experienced the pleasure of his princess' favours. From his sleep then awakens the sorrowful wanderer. He sees full before him the fellow waves, the sea-birds bathing and beating their wings, frost and snow falling with freezing hail. Then heavier grows the grief of his heart. Sad after his dream, he sorrows anew. His kinsman's memory he calls to his mind, and eagerly greets it. In gladness he sees his valiant comrades. Then they vanish away. In the soul of a sailor no songs burst forth, no familiar refrains. Fresh is his care who sends his soul over the sea full oft, over the wailing waves his wearied heart. Hence I may not marvel when I am mindful of life, that my sorrowing soul grows sick and dark. When I look at the lives of lords and earls, how they are suddenly snatched from the seats of their power, in their princely pride, so passes this world, and droops and dies each day and hour. And no man is sage who knows not his share of winter in the world. The wise man is patient, not too hot in his heart, nor too hasty in words, nor too weak in war, nor unwise in his rashness, nor too forward in vain, nor fearful of death, nor too eager and arrogant till he equal his boasting. The wise man will wait with his words of boasting till, restraining his thoughts, he thoroughly knows where his vain words of vaunting eventually will lead him. The sage man perceives how sorrowful it is when all the wealth of the world lies wasted and scattered. So now over the earth, in every land, stormed on by winds, the walls are standing, rimy with hoar frost, and the roofs of the houses. The wine halls are wasted. Far away are the rulers, deprived of their pleasure. All the proud ones have fallen. The warriors by the wall, some war has borne off. In its bloody embrace, some birds have carried over the high seas. To some the hoar wolf has dealt their death. Some with dreary faces by ours have been exiled in earth's caves to dwell. So has wasted this world through the wisdom of God, till the proud one's pleasure has perished utterly, and the old work of the giant stands worthless and joyless. He who the waste of this world steed wisely considers and looks down deep at the darkness of life, mournful in mind, remembers of old much struggle and spoil, and speaks these words: Where are the horses? Where are the heroes? Where are the high treasure givers? Where are the proud pleasure seekers? Where are the palace and its joys? Alas, the bright wine cup! Alas, the Barney warriors! Alas, the princess bride! How passes the time under the shadow of night as it never had been! Over the trusty troop now towers wall high a wall adorned with wondrous dragons. The strength of the spear has destroyed the arrows, war-greedy weapons, weird inexorable, and the storms strike down on the stony cliffs. The snows descend and seize all the earth. In the dread of winter then darkness comes, and dusky night shade. Down from the north the hated hailstorm beat on heroes with fury. All on earth is irksome to men. Oft changes the work of the fates, the world under the firmament. Here treasure is fleeting, here true friends are fleeting, here comrades are fleeting, here kinsmen are fleeting. All idle and empty the earth has become. So says the sage one in mind, as he sits and secretly ponders. Good is the man who is true to his trust, never should he betray anger. Divulge the rage of his heart till the remedy he knows, that quickly will quiet his spirit. The quest of honor is a noble pursuit. Glory be to God on high, who grants us our salvation. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Whither Must I Wander? By Robert Louis Stevenson. Read for LibriVox.org by Alan Mapstone. To the tune of Wandering Willie. Home, no more home to me. Whither must I wander? Hunger my driver, I go where I must. Cold blows the winter wind over hill and heather. Thick drives the rain, and my roof is in the dust. Loved of wise men was the shade of my roof tree. The true word of welcome was spoken at the door. Dear days of old, with the faces in the firelight, kind folks of old, you come again no more. Home was home then, my dear, full of kindly faces. Home was home then, my dear, happy for the child. Fire and the windows bright glittered on the moorland. Song, tuneful song, built a palace in the wild. Now when the day dawns on the brow of the moorland, lone stands the house, and the chimney stone is cold. Lone let it stand now, the friends have all departed, the kind hearts, the true hearts, that loved the place of old. Spring shall come, come again, calling up the moorfowl. Spring shall bring the sun and rain, bring the bees and flowers. Red shall the heather bloom over hill and valley. Soft flow the stream through the ever-flowing hours. Fair the day shine as it shone on my childhood. Fair shine the day on the house with open door. Birds come and cry there and twitter in the chimney, but I go for ever and come again no more. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Woman Who Loves by Rainer Maria Rilke. Read for LibriVox.org by Ehsan Ahmed Mehedi in 3rd of July 2023. Ah yes, I long for you. To you I glide and lose myself, for to you I belong. The hope that hitherto I have denied, imperious comes to me, as from your side serious, unfaltering, and swift and strong. Those times, the times when I was quite alone, by memories wrapped that whispered to me low, my silence was the quiet of a stone, over which rippling murmuring waters flow. But in these weeks of the awakening spring, something within me has been freed, something that in the past dark years unconscious lay, which rises now within me and commands and gives my poor warm life into your hands, who know not what I was that yesterday. End of poem. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain.
The Young Man's Song by William Butler Yeats. Read for LibriVox.org by Winston Tharp. I whispered, I am too young, and then, I am old enough. Wherefore I threw a penny to find out if I might love. Go and love, young man, if the lady be young and fair. Ah, penny, brown penny, I am looped in the loops of her hair. Oh, love is the crooked thing. There is nobody wise enough to find out all that is in it. For he would be thinking of love till the stars had run away and the shadows eaten the moon. Ah, penny, brown penny, one cannot begin it too soon. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Your Own Fair Youth by Alice Meynell. Read for LibriVox.org by Jaelee. Your own fair youth, you care so little for it. Smiling toward heaven, you would not stay the advances of time and change upon your happiest fancies. I keep your golden hour and will restore it. If ever in time to come you would explore it, your old self, whose thoughts went like last year's pansies, look unto me. No mirror keeps its glances. In my unfailing praises now I store it, to guard all joys of yours from time's estranging. I shall then be a treasury where your gay, happy, and pensive past unaltered is. I shall then be a garden, charmed from changing, in which your June has never passed away. Walk there awhile, among my memories. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.